Daf Kuf Nun Aleph Amid Beis will begin Kuf Nun Aleph Amid Aleph, the Mishnah at the bottom. So like the Mishnah, Oisim Kol Tzarchei Meis, we can attend to the needs of a Meis who is Nifter and Mes on Shabbos. Mishum Kovra Meis, we're allowed to do certain things for him so the Meis doesn't decompose. So for instance, Sachin Madich Noisa, you can anoint him with oil or you can wash him. And Bavad Shlo Yadzis Ba'ever. But you cannot move any of the limbs. A mess is muksa, so you can't move any of the limbs. You can wash and anoint him, but you can't move any of the limbs. And Shayim Armadai for him, you see from here that a davar that's muksa, it's also to be metaltal, even a part of the davar muksa, not only the entire chayfetz, even part of it, because here, even a limb, you can't move. You can pull a pillow from underneath him, and you can have him slip onto the sand, shiamtin, so that it doesn't decompose, so it remains moist. If it's on the pillow or a mattress, the heat causes it to decompose faster. So you can slip it from underneath him. He lies on the cool sand, and therefore it retards the decomposition of the mess. You can tie the jaw, not that it should rise up, it's a bezoin for the mess if the jaw is hanging down, but you can't move the mess. So you can tie the jaw not to raise it, but just so that it doesn't slip further down. In a similar way, if you have a beam in a house and a ceiling that broke, then you can support it with a bench or the side posts of a bed. Not to raise it up, because raising up the beam, that would be part of it considered boina. You're building it, you're raising the beam up. So not that to raise it, so that it doesn't fall further down. The Mishnah said that you can sachin and marchitzen as a meiz. There's a meiz with Talmud Ramesh and Nechnesarach Lebeis Merchas that followed him to the Bercha Merchas. Bikesh Ladiach Karka. Now the floor was stones, it is a stone floor, so he wanted to wash the floor. Armaloi Ramesh said, Ein Medechet. It's also, you're not allowed to wash it. Lasuch bekarka, he wanted to smear it with oil. So he said, Amar Sachin. He says you can't. It's also. So you see over here that a dover muksa, the stones are muksa. So you see that a dover muksa, it's also to wash or to sach a dover muksa. Now in our Mishnah, it says for the mess, it's mutter, and the mess is muksa. More answers karka bekarka michlfe. You might interchange one floor to the other. In those days, most of the floors were earthen floors. If we allow washing and sachin on the stone floor, people will come to do it on an earthen floor. And on an earthen floor, it's also, because that would be ashvi gumais. So it would be a baina. Meis bekarka lemechov. But there's no interchanging a meis with karka, so therefore there's no reason to be geyser. So the Mishnah says that we can do all the needs of the mace. Kol lasuya maya. What does that come to include? The Gemara says lasuya hadatan rabbanan to include the following: mevim kli maker or kli matches. You can bring, like we mentioned before, the heat causes it to more rapidly decompose. So you can bring kalim, which are cool, which will keep it cool. Kli maker or kli matches. You can bring these type of kalim, like glass or metal. And when and leave it put it on the stomach so that it doesn't decompose so quickly, so it doesn't swell. Upiking is the kavav, you can close up the openings. So the nostrils, etc., you can close it up so that the wind doesn't come into it, the air doesn't come into it. So again, so it will preserve the mess. So we see from what Shlomo Melech said, that we see that the stomach, it swells and it bursts. So that's why you can put these kli maker on the stomach so it doesn't swell and burst. Shlomo Melech said that the young person, you should take musar, you should have musar and do tshuva and ma'asim tovim while you still can, before the old age comes, before the Yomi Masechet. You should do tshuva before the day comes when the time will come when the silver rope breaks. So what is that silver rope? What's it referring to? That's referring to the spinal cord. V'seres gulas azov, and the golden bowl is shattered za'ama. That's referring to the aver. V'tishaver kad al mavua, and it says the pitcher is broken on the fountain. Zakirs, that's referring to the stomach. And so the stomach is, things are poured into the stomach, food and mashka is poured into the stomach, so it's like a pitcher. So before, he says before, tishaver kad hamavua, you see that the stomach bursts. V'noras hagalgal labor zer perish, and the wheel is smashed at the pit. That's referring to the excrement, that the galal, the darshaning galgal is galal. Galgal, the wheel, but it's also galal, it means perish, excrement. And it says in the pasuk, it says that he will scatter, Rabbeinu Shalom will scatter the perish, the excrement of your faces, the perish of the chagim. The chagim, the festivals that they used to make, were not Torah festivals, and therefore the Rabbeinu Shalom says, I will, all the eating and drinking, etc., that will turn into perish, that will be smashed into your faces, will be scattered onto your faces, rather. Amar Avuna v'Amar Amar Rav Chaga Elu b'nei Adam shebelichan divrei Torah v'oisim kol yameim kechagim. This is referring to people that they abandon the Torah and they're olam hazeh their whole life partying. So the Marshal Darshans, it says in the pasuk, it says twice, v'zaresi perish al penechem perish chagechem. So one is referring to the perish, the excrement. The other one is that these are beinam shemenichem divrei Torah, perish lashon poirish. They separate themselves from divrei Torah and they're oisik only in olam hazeh. Amar Rabbi Levi Amar Rav Papa Amar Rav Yeshua la'achar shleisha yomim. 3 days after the person dies, krisa nivkas, his stomach bursts, b'naifelas alpanav, and then the perish is scattered on his face. And the stomach says, "Tul mashin asatabi, you stuffed me. You put all these that you put into me, that for the sake of olam hazeh gashmias, take it back." And it's scattered on his face. Zok the Mishnah, ein ma'atzmen es hameis b'Shabbos. You cannot close the eyes of the meis on Shabbos. Like we said before, the meis is muksa. So moving the eyelids is also, even though this is normally something that's done for a meis, but on Shabbos it's also. V'loy b'chol imytzias nefesh, and on the weekday it's also to close eyelids at the moment of death. At that point in time, any little movement of the person could hasten the death, could bring the misa earlier. So therefore, b'chol, of course, there's no muksa consideration, but there is a shaila of a safek pikuach nefashos. So therefore, it's also to move the eyelids. It might hasten the death. And if someone does close the eyelids at the moment of death, it's considered like he's shayfech damim, like he is a ritzeach. There's a shaila on the Paiskim, to what extent do we say this? Do we mean it literally or not? But al kol panim, it's certainly also to move the eyelids at the moment of death, b'chol, even b'chol. Ton rabbanan ma'asmen mitzias hanefesh reizay shayfech damim. It's like he was ritzeach. Mashal l'ner shekavav aleches. It's like a flickering candle. The flame is flickering. If a person puts his finger on it, it extinguishes it right away. Here also, the person is in the weakened state, extreme weakened state, and any little movement on it could bring about the death. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, if a person wants to close the eyelids of a mess, there is an eitzah that he can use that to close the eyelids. He blows wine into the nostrils, and he puts oil on the eyelashes, between the eyelashes, and he holds on to the big toes, and then they close on their own. So there's an eitzah to close the eyelids. Tanya, Rishim Gamliel, Tinaik ben Yomi Masechet Shabbat. A tinaik, a small child, newborn baby, 1 day old, you can b'chal the Shabbos. If it's needed for what's needed for his to preserve his life, you can be b'chal the Shabbos. Dovid Melech Yisrael meis and b'chal Masechet Shabbos. Dovid Melech Yisrael, the great Melech, but once he's meis and b'chal the Shabbos, you cannot. So the mes, like we said, is considered muksa. You can't be moved. But a tinik ben yoyma, even a child just born, b'chal the Shabbos. Tinik ben yoyma v'chaim b'chal Masechet Shabbos amar Torah chalel alav Shabbos echad kedei sheyishma Shabbosos harbe. You preserve his life so that he'll be able to keep many Shabbosim. But Dovid Melech Yisrael meis ein b'chal alav kemen shemeis odam batel min hamitzvos. But once a mes is batel min hamitzvos, so there is no mitzvahs that he can keep. You're not machal the Shabbos. This is one drasha that we say that machal the Shabbos, that pikuach nefesh is zeich l'Shabbos, which implies that it's only because the child or the person will be able to keep mitzvahs, do mitzvahs, and keep Shabbosim. But there are other drashas that we learn, that we darshan v'chai behem, etc., that are not connected with the future performance of mitzvahs. Even if he can't perform mitzvahs, it's a mitzvah for bikuach nefashos to save his life. But a mes is batel in a mitzvahs, is muksa, and you can't even Dovid Melech Yisrael meis in b'chal Masechet Shabbos. Dovid Melech Yisrael meis in b'chal alav came and shemeis adam batel min hamitzvos. V'hainu da Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan says, he's discussing the pasuk. It says b'meisim chashi. It says that he's counted from the mes who are free. What does it mean b'meisim chashi? Kevan shemeis adam nasa chashi min hamitzvos. When a person dies, he's chashi, he's free. He's no mitzvahs. He can't do any mitzvahs. Betanya, Reb Shimon ben Elazar Reb Shimon ben Elazar says another chilik between a living person and one who's not. Tinak ben yoyma ein tzarich l'shama minach ulda minach barim. 1 day old baby, tiny little baby, you don't have to protect him from weasels and from the mice. They will have fear of a living creature. Even a newborn baby, they'll have a natural fear of a living creature. But Oig Melech Habashan meis, by the Oig Melech Habashan, the giant, he's dead. You do have to protect him from the the fear. Your fear will be upon all the creatures. When a person is alive, then his fear is mutal on the brias. When he's dead, there's no more fear. We have a Messiah that a lion does not attack 2 people. Did not feel. We see that he does attack. So our answers are who Kiram Barama. The Amaram Baraba Ein Chaya Shaletas Bahadamach Nidmaloik Behema. The Chaya doesn't he's not Shaila, he doesn't rule over a person unless that person appears to him like a behemoth. If he doesn't appear like a Adam, if he's in a madrega of an Adam, the animal has fear on him. The Chayas will have, and the Chayas will be afraid of him. But when he is lower in madrega, when he's fallen madrega, so he's like a behemoth, so they're not afraid of him. Shenemar of Adam bikar bal yalin, nimshal ke behemoth nidbu. He appears. You have heard when he's not in his glory, when he's not in his high madrega, he appears like a behemoth. So therefore, when he said they don't attack 2 people, that's when the 2 people are like Adam. But when the people are like behemoths, then they do attack them. So the kasha is, then, if they're afraid of people, why is it dafka 2 people? Why is it not dafka? Why 1 would they attack? If we say that Be'etzem, when the Adam is in a madrega, they're afraid of him, so they won't attack 2. If the Adam is not on that madrega, they would attack 2. Well, if they're afraid, why wouldn't they attack 1? So some of the Farshim say that it's not so clear. They don't see that clarity of the madrega of the Adam. If there's 1, they might not see it. If there's 2, it's clear that madrega of the Adam and the Pachad and the Meira becomes clearer, so then they will stay away. Also, lishain bebayis yechidi. A person is not allowed to sleep in a house all alone. V'chol yashin bebayis yechidi achzas lilis. He says then he'll be attacked by the lilis. It's a type of shade. He'll be attacked from it. So you see again this chilik between a person alone. If there's a person alone, he can be attacked by a lion. The two people, he won't be. Similarly, a person sleeping alone in a house can be attacked by lilis. You should give tzedakah while you have people that you can give tzedakah to. And you have the means, and you have the money, you have the means to give tzedakah. And you're still alive. He said, remember the Rebbeinu Shalom in your youth, before the bad days come. So what is that? What are these evil days? That's old age. And the days will come when you say, I have no pleasure in these days. What is that? El Yemei Mashiach. Those are the days of Mashiach where there's no zchus chayva, meaning those are days that you will not be able to do all of these mitzvahs. That people won't need tzedakah, there won't be these poor people, and you won't be able to do these mitzvahs. So chaparain, and while you still can do the mitzvah. Upliga de Shmuel, Damer Shmuel ein ben olam hazeli, Moisei Mashiach, el shibun malchus bilvad. Shmuel says the ways of the world, the order of nature, won't change at the time of Mashiach. The difference between now and the time of Mashiach is that the rulers, that the nations, the ummas, will not rule over us. But there still will be the derech ha'olam, and there will still be poor people, and still have the opportunity to do mitzvahs, to give tzedakah. Shenemar ki lo yachal levi mikerav haaretz. Poor people, there will never stop being poor people in the land. So, according to Shmuel, even at the time of Mashiach, they'll be able to do these mitzvahs. But this pliga de Shmuel, so he said that you should chaparain to do the mitzvah tzedakah while you still can. Many times, the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Aaron Leib Shteiman Zatzal, used to tell us, chaparain, be marbet Torah, do the mitzvahs, chaparain, Mashiach is coming, Mashiach is on the way, and you won't be able to have this harbotzos Torah, this mitzvah, when Mashiach comes. So chaparain and do as much as you can, while you still can. Tanya, we learned the Brayso of Elazar Kapraim. Lo elam yivakesh adam rachma midazu. Person should always mivakesh reich with the Rebbeinu Shalom that he shouldn't come to anias, to poverty. Shim hu loibo. If it doesn't reach him, if he doesn't get affected by it, then if it doesn't reach him, it comes to his son. Im hu loibo ba b'noi. It comes to his son. V'im b'noi loibo. Ben b'noi bo, and if it doesn't come to his son, it'll come to his grandson. It says that you should not feel bad about giving tzedakah, because biglal hadavar hazeh, Hashem will bench you, will give you bracha. So Yidarshan biglal, Tana de Be'er Shmuel, it says biglal galgal. We darshan biglal because of the loshon of biglal galgal, a wheel. Galgalush choizer ba'olam. It's a wheel that turns. A wheel that's turning, what's at the bottom then becomes on the top, what's on the top becomes on the bottom, what's on the bottom becomes on the top. It's turning around. Sometimes people are on the top, then they become on the bottom, and vice versa. So people who are wealthy, then ultimately their descendants could become poor, and vice versa. So always be mevakesh rachmim al midasu. Amar of Yosef the Katinan Haitzrim the Rabbanu Lemianim. So we have a Messiah that a Talmud Chacham doesn't become anoni, doesn't become poor. But we see that they do become poor. More answers, if that happens, they don't have to go begging, because the Talmud Chacham has people who will support him, that will be machshav him and mechabed him. So ad kedei kach that he won't have to be knocking on the doors. He said to his wife, Ki also on you, when a poor person comes, quickly give him bread to eat, so that he will give to your children. So she said, You're cursing your children that they should become paupers and be machzor al psochim and have to go begging. Amar lo, they said, Kro kaksi ki b'golal hadavar hazeh v'tana debei v'shmol gal gal achayzer ba'olam. Meaning it's something that's almost, it's inevitable. So therefore, try to have schusim so that your children will be at least taken care of. They will have a measure of comfort if they fall into that matzav. Tanya Rabbi Malil Rabbi Yomer v'noson l'chol rachamim avreichamcha v'hirbecha. So the Torah says that Hashem will give you rachamim and have rachamim in you and hirbecha and multiply you. Kol hamarachim al habriyos merachim alav min hashamayim. He'll give you rachamim and he'll have rachamim on you. If you have rachamim on others, then the Hashem will have rachamim on you. V'chol she'en merachim al habriyos ein merachim min hashamayim. And if you're not merachim, so they won't be merachim min hashamayim. So l'chera over here, it's part and parcel. This bracha is v'nosan l'chol rachamim rachemcha. If a person, for whatever circumstances, doesn't have rachamim on others sufficiently, but he's mispal to the Rabbeinu Shalom, etc., the Rabbeinu Shalom will give him a midah of rachamim, which will enable him to have bracha. It's a prerequisite to have bracha that he has rachamim in others. Sometimes a person is somewhat lacking in that. Some of the Meforshim speak out that this pasuk is referring as a reference to when a person has to perform the mitzvah of killing out an ir nidachas. He has to, for a mitzvah Hashem, he has to have a midah of achzorius. Sometimes he has to have a certain midah of achzorius to carry out certain mitzvahs, to kill out people who are over Avodah Zorah, to people who are over Averas. Rabbeinu Shalom wants to give him a bracha, but if he has a midah of achzorius for a good reason, but he has a midah of achzorius, Hashem gives us rachamim so that he will be able now to give us a bracha and give us a bracha. But in order to have the bracha, we have to have rachamim and others. So continue on with the pasuk in Koheles, Anasher lo yitechsach hashemesh v'ha'or. So you should do the tshuva before the sun darkens and before Asher lo yitechsach hashemesh v'ha'or, and the light, the sun and the light. Zu padachas v'chais. That's refers to the forehead and the nose. V'yareach zeneshama. That's the neshama. Chayim me'alas lotleis, the cheeks. V'shava ha'avim achar geshem, and the clouds return after the rains. Hemor eino shal odem. That's referring to the eyesight. Shakol ha'alech achar bechi, which, if a person cries, if he has tears, then it dims his eyesight. It affects his eyesight. Amr Shmuel Haidim also, tears. If a person cries, ad arbaim shanim hadra, then his eyesight will be restored. Even though he has tears, it won't permanently affect his eyesight. But mekan ve'elech, after that stage, loy hadra, it doesn't return. Vam Rav Nachman hai kuchla, this eye ointment called kuchla, ad arbim shna maravach. Until he's 40 years old, it improves his eyesight. Mekan va'elech, but from there on, after 40, afilu malya kavisana de gerdoi, even if he puts so much on it, like a weaver's beam, he puts so much of that ointment, the kumi moikim, it will only preserve it. But arvuchi loy marvach, it won't improve it. Maika mashmalan, what are we learning out from here? The kamadalim mekuchla tfei mali, the more you put on from this kuchla, the more you apply this ointment, the better it is for the eyes. Rav Chanina Rav Chanina, his daughter Rachman died. He didn't cry over Amrullah. The base his wife said to him, Tarnagolta, pick me besach. It's nothing, just that they took a tarnagelas from you. That's all, that they took a chicken from you. You're not crying from this? Amrullah, he said to her, Tate, should I have two misfortunes? Tichla v'avira, that he should be losing his children and blindness. She should suffer double. So if he's going to cry, it's going to adversely affect his eyesight. So therefore, even though he is bitzar, but he didn't cry. There's 6 kinds of tears. Shalosh yafas v'shalosh rois. 3 are good, and 3 are harmful. Shel Oshan v'shel Bechi, if it comes from smoke, crying the tears from smoke, or from crying, v'shel Basic Kisei, or from stomach pains in the Basic Kisei Rois. Shel Sam v'shel Schoik v'shel Peres, if it comes from medicine or from laughing, or for certain types of peres, like a strong aroma from certain peres, Yafes, they're good for the eyes.